Another episode of my Tulane Green Wave Dynasty here on College Football 25, where we've made it through the regular season. Went 6-6, did win our last game to get to bowl eligibility. Um, Obviously, very disappointing season, but we did at least hit a goal there at the end. Once we kind of got to the halfway point, it was like, let's make sure we get to a bowl game. Did get it with an excellent defensive performance over UTSA. In my opinion, it was the best defense we played the entire season against a pretty good team. But we are, in this episode, going to be going over just kind of the whole recruiting class. Well, maybe not the whole recruiting class. I'll save that. But we will be going over our typical, like, end of the regular season / conference championship episode where we're going over All-Americans, award winners, conference champions, so on and so forth. So, without further ado, we will, obviously we're not playing in the conference championship game, so we will be fast forward and we'll take a look at everything and see what we possibly have. We do get a commitment here from a 4-star halfback, Daniel Dolegala, out of Arkansas. Cornerback Jermaine Boggs out of Florida also commits. So we got a couple of commitments. The class is coming along great, which is good because I'm sure we're going to drop pretty considerably in our as far as our available points. We're at a 4-star program right now. I doubt that we stick at 4. Maybe if we, win the maybe if we win our bowl game, we might be able to stick at 4 just with the success that we've had over the the course of the dynasty. But let's advance the week and let's take a look for at the bowl game that we're going to be at, because I know we'll see that. And if we have any award winners, nothing new from a recruiting standpoint. Nothing new there. See what we got. Avery Johnson is your Heisman Trophy winner. We have seen him a couple of times in this series. He is an outstanding quarterback. Outstanding player, one of the best ones in the entire country, and obviously very deserving of the Heisman Trophy. Quincy Wiggins, for the second year in a row, wins the National Defensive Player of the Year award. Got him in as a transfer from Colorado heading into year 2, and he has won that award for us twice. He has been by far the best player on the defense. Also winning Best Defensive End again. He is sweeping every award that he won after year 2. He is going to be sorely missed. And we are actually going to the Fenway Bowl to play the Virginia Cavaliers. I think that's actually sounds like a really fun matchup. Actually very, very, very excited to play in that game and play the Cavaliers. They're a team that I am debating for the Dynasty here in next year's season, but be a great opportunity, against an ACC team, kind of see how we play against a Power 4 school. And, so let's take a look. Obviously, the Heisman Trophy winner was Avery Johnson. We had nobody here but Justice Lowe from Oregon finishes second. Christopher Vizina, quarterback out of Clemson, finishes third. DJ Lagway from Florida finishes fourth. And Lincoln Kindholz ends up fifth out of Ohio State. Definitely surprising. And here in this series, he is definitely taken over, that quarterback spot, and he's ran with it. So Player of the Year, Quincy Wiggins did end up getting into that top 12 in this, and was a finalist for it. But it's Avery Johnson that wins that. Of course, our guy is not going to be up here for the Coach of the Year with just a 6-6 record. Best quarterback obviously goes to Avery Johnson. We have nobody there. The best defensive player of the year, of course, goes to Quincy Wiggins. Best defensive back, Maxwell Jordan, redshirt freshman, able to get on this list. Ends up at 6, but it's Graham Gallagher out of Oregon that wins that award. He is a redshirt freshman. So a couple of redshirt freshmen have an outstanding year. Eric Browning, late charge with a really strong last quarter of the season, ends up finishing at 6th as a true freshman for the best running back. Obviously, the impact he has in the passing game is really key for this offense, but Cameron Seldon out of Tennessee wins that. Best receiver, Alec Eilmanor, finishes 6th. Surprisingly, Trey Bueno does not make his way up here. I don't know if it may be touchdowns or something he's missing, but Joseph Young from Florida Atlantic ends up winning that award. Lombardi, of course, goes to Quincy Wiggins. He is the only player for us. Of course, Demon Clowney, we played him several times. He is a menace for sure. Avery Johnson also wins your Unitas Golden Arm Award. Quincy Wiggins, of course, wins Best DE. Nobody else on the list. Best interior lineman goes to Wendell Moe out of Arizona. We had nobody on the list. Best tight end goes to Lawson Lucky. Myrtle did not make the list. Broyles Award, we're not going to have anybody make this list. Best linebacker, nobody makes this list, and it goes to Devon Jackson out of Oregon. Best center goes to Isaiah Bullardick out of Charlotte. Of course, we played him. Outstanding player. Best offensive lineman in the conference. No questions asked. Lou Groza goes to Keith Wembley out of Boston College. We have nobody there. Best punter, Adam Jacqueline out of UTEP. We have nobody there despite how many times we did punt this year. And Trey Bueno does end up fifth for best returner, but it goes to B.B. Donald out of Georgia Tech for that. Are All-Americans. Let's just see. If you want to pause for somebody in particular, you can, but I'll kind of just mainly hit our guys. So Teron Kelman, at least a Charlotte guy, ends up being first team, so we did play him. Isaiah Bullardick, of course, in there as well. We had nobody, unsurprisingly, on the first team because the awards don't always make sense with what goes on the All-American list as well. Nobody on the second team, despite having the National Defensive Player of the Year that won all kinds of awards. It's a little surprising there. Charlotte put a bunch of players on this list. So good for them. They were really good this year. Freshman Tyler Flynn out of South Carolina ends up getting the spot over Celeste Chin, but Eric Browning does make the freshman All-American team, so that's at least cool to see. And we don't get either one of the safeties in there, which is, again, pretty surprising. But All-American teams, I've said this every time, they're really, really weird and really finicky. So conference, all conference teams, Eric Browning, Alec Manor both make the first team there. Cameron Hamilton, Chris Rogers. So again, no Quincy Wiggins. Those guys do make first team all conference. Trey Bueno, Shadre Hurst make the second team. Again, no Quincy Wiggins. Will Carroll is the second team punter. And the freshman All-American, this is where we certainly can hit. Celeste Chin, Eric Browning, Trey Bueno all deservingly make it. Carlos Morincola did not play. He redshirted but got there. Rafael Cantu and Mike Ferrier did play a little bit, end up getting a spot there. And, of course, Maxwell Jordan makes it there. As we take a look at this team statistically, I'm going to end with the CFP bracket. Just turned the ball over too much with Celeste Chin, 17 interceptions with a bowl game still to play, but did hit the 30 passing touchdown mark. Threw for over 3,600 yards. The yards per attempt were definitely a little sporadic. A couple of games really hit high-level marks. Some games were, like the last one, were definitely more of an extension of the run game kind of passes. But I thought he was really solid. Does have a fumbling issue that we have to monitor because he's a guy that I do like to run the football with. Eric Browning, thought was really solid on the ground. Got a lot better as the year went on. And we really kind of tried out some different things. Got the running game going. But you see back-to-back games here. Here at the end of the season, we're really solid. But it did not start off great by any stretch of the imagination. But as we got that going, he was a big part of it. And ends it with his first 100-yard game of his career and a score. And, of course, major threat with the ball in his hands out of the backfield as well. Really, really strong finish to the season for him. Finnerty came on late, started getting some run. I do like what he brings, but did not find the end zone within Celeste Chin. Didn't run the ball a whole lot, to say the least. We don't even have a 150 carry guy when we threw the ball over 400 times. So ran through it more than I would like to. Certainly would like to find more balance. But it did lead to Trey Bueno having an outstanding true freshman campaign, almost at 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns with a bowl game left to play. Alec Manor, of course, originally transferred here from Stanford to catch passes, to get yards, and he has done that in spades here over the past couple of years. Eric Browning ends up as our third leading receiver. Preston is at fourth, and Myrtle's kind of late season burst. Definitely think he's going to be a big part of what we do in the passing game next year, kind of throughout the whole season. Because it was didn't get used a whole lot early on, and then kind of from the Navy game on, we really tried to get him involved. Coming off of an 8-catch week, he got 12 over his last 2 games. He's more of an extension of the run game type right now. But did have an 18-yard reception, a 14-yarder, a 21, a 27, 19-yarder. So he does have some big play to his game. Just kind of have to get used to it. Blake Gunter got his job stolen there at points in this year, and Kai Preen been used just a little bit. Blocking a ton of holding calls this year. Brady Rentz was among the leaders in holding calls on the team and gave up 7 sacks. Fortenberry doesn't get called for holding a lot, but does have problems with the sacks. Shadre Hurst does get called for holding, but doesn't give up a whole lot of sacks. That's at least a positive. But again, don't give up a ton of pressure. Just need a little bit of improvement there for sure. Chris Rogers is leading the team in tackles. Maxwell Jordan, of course, has been outstanding. Jaden Lewis continues to develop. Kilgo continues to develop. Of course, Quincy Wiggins, 59, 27, 17 and a half. He's been outstanding. There's somebody in particular you want to pause on. I'll run through everybody with statistics. Tackles for loss, Wiggins, Olsen. Olsen finished the season strong, but is not as good this year as I was hoping that he was going to be. He is a crucial piece for us next year. Cameron Hamilton is a senior, definitely going to be missed. The same with Chris Rogers. Sacks. Quincy Wiggins, pretty big drop-off. Ashley Williams, I think, is going to be a major player for us next year. Hopefully him and Olsen kind of find their stride and help us fill this gap that Wiggins is leaving. But, yeah, just a handful of guys here with sacks. Interceptions, Ivory and Altis Smith lead the way with 3 apiece. Kilgo, Jordan, and Magruder with 2 apiece. Rogers, Woodyard, Jeremiah, Jolly with 1. Deflections, leader goes to Ivory. Thought he was really good this year. Definitely excited to have him back again next year. And defensive touchdowns, Altis Smith did have 1. Helmke made all of his extra points, made 92% of his field goals, so solid there. Carroll was a really good punter. Unfortunately, had to punt more than usual this year. We did get a Trey Bueno kickoff return touchdown. Nothing, no scores, at least in the punt return. Let's take a look at the American Conference, and then we'll take a look at things nationally. So Celeste Chin leads the conference in passing yards. Of course, I'm sure threw the most passes, and he did. Touchdown-wise, he was tied for second with Clay Adams from Temple behind Max Brown, the Charlotte senior quarterback. But he also was tied with Adams and Caton Hauser from East Carolina in interceptions. 64% completion percentage, at least among the actual quarterbacks that played significantly. He was second there, yards per game. He's going to be first. Quarterback rating, at least among the real quarterbacks that played significant time, he was third in that standpoint. So, interceptions certainly suck. Would like to get that to less than 1 per game. But they were really streaky. I mean, he and I think none of Chin's were from accuracy. I think it's just me making bad decisions. But we did have, 4 games with no interceptions. We had 2, 3 with 1 or less, but they kind of can come in spurts here. You got a 3 interception game against Kansas State, a 4 versus Memphis, and then a 3 versus UAB. Definitely have to cut down on that. So Kelman was the leading rusher in the conference. Browning is a little bit farther down here. Obviously, there's not going to be anybody else to really look at. Kelman easily leading the way in touchdowns in the conference, with Browning being tied for 5th. Bueno is the leading yardage guy. I Manor is at 4th in the conference. From a reception standpoint, I Manor was 3rd. Bueno was 4th. So both pretty solid there. We did have 5 players in the conference eclipse that 1,000-yard mark, at least with another bowl game to go for some of these teams. Joseph Young, guy that won the wide receiver of the year, 20 receiving touchdowns. Manor finishes behind him with 13. Miller had a good game against us and had 13 scores on the season. And then you come down here, Trey Bueno did crack the double digits, so he's up towards the top of the leaderboard. And as far as tackles go, Tony McCoy is leading the conference. Sack-wise, certainly is going to be Quincy Wiggins. He's easily leading the tackles for loss as well. CJ Clinkscales has given us hell the past couple of years. Is tied with Jimmy Lichtensteiger, with 7 interceptions in the conference. So a lot of guys putting up a lot of stats here in the American. So let's just go kind of nationally across the leaders. Vizinha from Clemson leads the way almost at 4,000 passing yards. A.J. Duffy from San Diego State having a really good year. John Allen Richter from Toledo. Celessi Chin is 4th in the country in passing yards. Ryan Brown from Purdue. Avery Johnson, Holes, Dante Moore, of course, is really developing. Aiden Gray, or has really developed. He is a senior now. Malik Murphy finishes off his career with a 3,500-yard season. E.J. Lagway, A.J. Swan, Aiden Childs is a senior. Definitely would have liked to be able to recruit him when he transferred to USC, but we were not able to do so. Let's see. Max Brown, Nico had a pretty solid season there for sure. Okay, let's take a look at this from a touchdown perspective. Vizinha leading the way with 42. Tyler Flynn from South Carolina at 40. I really thought that Celestia Chin was going to be the freshman All-American. It's pretty clear why it was Tyler Flynn. He was outstanding as a true freshman for South Carolina. Certainly looks like a bona fide stud. One thing I can't wait, because I really am thinking, next year I do a single series. I would like to do a Madden series where I bring guys in. Like, I don't know if you guys watch Octagonal Gaming, but he does the like his college football 25. Takes we can't export classes or whatever, but he takes the way the guys actually play in the game in his college football series. He moves them into the Madden draft classes. Because, like, you'd already be stoked. A 5-star quarterback goes to South Carolina, gets to start as a true freshman, like, in his 2nd in the country in passing touchdowns. I mean, just looks like a sensation. Would be like a Trevor Lawrence type, essentially, pretty much right away. Or Caleb Williams, Avery Johnson there. So, just taking a look here. Celestia Chin really did. I mean, it's just the interceptions for Chin. That's the big thing. We get that down. Gunnar Stockton with 18. Know all about him throwing a bunch of interceptions, unfortunately. So yeah, rushing leaders. Cameron Seldon, of course, won the running back of the year. Really good year. Seeing if there's Kelman there, Cody McPherson, Larry Beebe, of course, gave us fits as well. Dylan Edwards giving us fits. Branson, Jaden Ball there for Florida. Yeah, just kind of taking a look here at some of these top-end guys. That's everybody over the 800-yard mark. Take a look at everybody that had the double digits in touchdowns. CJ Baxter is now UCF. I missed that. Okay. Avery Johnson with 10 rushing touchdowns as well. Dude is disgusting. All right, we'll take a look at all of our 1,000-yard receivers. TJ Moore, Cam Williams, Justice Lowe, Aiden Mizell, Jordan Napier. There's the Joseph Young. Helikai Manor, Ryan Williams, great junior season for him. Caleb Webb, Rodney Gallagher, Landon Sides has been super productive in this series. Okay. Take a look at our double-digit touchdown guys. Of course, Joseph Young, A.J. Zimmerman. There's Mizell again. Xavier Jordan has been really good in this series, if I'm not mistaken, and not mixing him up with with the Georgia Dynasty as a USC receiver, doing really well in there. But I think it is Xavier Jordan. Just got it started a little bit earlier there. Jackson Harper, Nick Harbor, 12 touchdowns. Nice for him. Yeah, Bryant Wesco, Antonio Williams, Caden Lee there. A lot of guys with double digits and touchdowns. Cam Coleman really developing well. Okay. And then, of course, it's a little bit awkward trying to look at the national leaders and some of these defensive stats. So we'll just kind of go look through the sacks. Wiggins 17.5 right now is the leader. Moves over to Will Helt from Purdue at 18. Looks like he is going to be the national leader with that. And then we will do interceptions. Got a couple guys there with 6, Clink Scales and Lichtensteiger 7. Does anybody have more than 7? Got a couple of kids that join them. So 7 appears to be the number there. And now let's take a look at the CFP bracket, which of course we're not a part of, but so your top 4 seeds are number 1 Oregon looking to repeat, Kansas State at number 2, Florida at number 3, Charlotte is all the way up at your 4 seed, and your 5th seed will be Penn State, 6th is Ohio State, 7 is Pitt, 8 is West Virginia, 9 is Tennessee, 10 is Notre Dame, 11 is Texas A&M, and Nevada also sneaks in there at number 12. So, of course, some interesting teams. Seeing Charlotte, who we played this year, getting in there, and Kansas State, we played both of them. They're in the top 4. Both really good teams. Kansas State, they have been a tough out for me, for sure. I am actually 0 for 3 against them so far on this game, and they beat us up there pretty bad. Charlotte beat us by a couple of scores there. And I guess we can take a look here at early National Signing Day. So quarterback, we're going after a couple of 3-star guys here, but nothing obviously really. So Daniel Dolagala, just a normal development guy. We just needed some bodies. Sam Holiday is impact, 3-star. Very excited here for Tavares Peppers, a 96 speed physical wide receiver. Got good development there. Brett Kutcher, normal development, so that's not great. But 6'5" guy can work with that. Shane Campanaro, definitely the 86 speed, star, vertical threat tight end. Interested in him in the future. Earl Starks, impact. I never fully scouted him. Okay. Well, the impact is great, so he should at least not be a bust. There, Mike Silva, stars, nice. Nick Dora, impact. Really nice to add those guys along the offensive line. Angelo Ismail, 4-star, star. Cameron Lobato, 4-star, just normal development. And Tony Kiki, a 3-star, was a gem, I thought, anyway, with star development. Still going after a couple guys here as well. Defensive tackle, we got George Fuller, the number 24 player in the class, elite development at defensive tackle as a power rusher. That's insane. DeMario Toon, impact development as a power rusher again. Really trying to beef up these defensive lines. Robert Lucien, 5-star, the number 1 player in the country. Decided to come to a 6-6 Tulane team. He believes in the coach, believes in how much we were recruiting him, decided to come, star development, probably going to be starting very early in his career with that 90 speed. Iosefa Shin, really good speed as well here, 90 speed, 75 zone, elite development. Linebacker group is looking great moving forward. We add in 3 corners here, including the number 2 player in the country. So we have the number 1 and the number 2 player in the country, both coming to Tulane. Marquise Bickley, 99 speed, 5'11" cornerback. Jermaine Boggs is a 96 speed, 4-star cornerback. And Ty Canuck is a 3-star guy, but with 97 speed. So a lot of fast players coming in to play cornerback for us. A lot of these guys are going to play early. Tyler Hyde coming in at free safety. Really need bodies here, and he's the best one we've been able to add so far in this series, it looks like, at least on the hoof. But, of course, he'll be backing up Jeremiah Jolly and Maxwell Jordan next year if he is not getting redshirted. And still looking at a couple of strong safeties here, John Andres in particular. Feel really good about getting 3-star Jim. Pretty good athlete. Needs to work on his acceleration, his agility, but 92 speed with 77 zone. The true freshman. Certainly will take that. And Travis Cologne, still going after him. He is a championship contender, so I've kind of gone in and out on him, but that'll be a punter that we will look to get. And again, it's going to be tough for us recruiting next year, so it's been really great that we've been able to add some of these high-end players. Should end up with a top 10 class, it looks like, and hopefully gives us a solid floor, because I think it's going to be tougher to recruit next year. But yeah, the next time I see you guys in this series, we will be taking on Virginia in the Fenway Bowl. Hope that they actually do have a Fenway Stadium in the game. I think that would be really cool. Unfortunately, year 3 was not as good as I wanted it to be, but got a chance to finish on a strong note, send these seniors out the right way. If you enjoy the content, like and subscribe. Check out my Georgia Dynasty as well here on College Football 25 and my Atlanta Hawks franchise on NBA 2K25. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time.